You only get one life. So if there's a woman that's not cooperating with you with children, both of them gotta go. Hands washed clean, even if you still gotta pay something to the courts. Honestly, brothers should be moving in this day and age. You can't let a motherfucker get everything they want and then expect them to change their behavior. You need to make them make a choice. A, you have a father for your child, or B, you get child support. You make them have that choice, and you stick to that shit.
Folks, there is a dark side to this manosphere, and I must admit it. There's a part of this manosphere where young men come on here and they say things without much information. They say that from an ignorant standpoint. They come on and they tell men that you can walk away from your responsibilities and that a child support check can substitute being a father. One of the things I'm very happy with is when I was growing up, my father had that choice, and he told me this years ago. He had a choice to go get education away from Jamaica abroad. And he could have left my mother at that point. They were not married at that point. And he could have left, and he said he wouldn't have known what would have happened after that. But he chose to forego going to that university and stay with his children. And because of that, myself and my sisters benefit every day because of that decision. And I can tell you, with my family, everyone has stuck by their children. And that is how I think each generation benefits and improves. Now, when I hear a young man say that you don't work things out with a woman, you walk away, what that tells me is this is one of the big issues that is happening. This is bigger than the manosphere. This has to do with the black community. And I'll tell you later on, it's not just the black community, because we'll cover that a little later. But in the black community, this is not something that among men is, people are embarrassed by this. They say this proudly. I could not imagine a man from another community saying something this proudly. So anyhow, I wanted to go into history. Everyone, older folks will know about Papa was a Rolling Stone. This started way back when. A lot of times men decide to leave, and I'm not one of those that say can't be difficult women. I can understand. I've been married for almost 18 years now, so I know women can be very difficult. But men have to be mature. Both of you have to be mature, and you have to see beyond your immaturity to see that you have a responsibility and that you're accountable for these children. You can't build a black community, or you can't build any community if men just walk away when things don't seem right. So, we saw this, Papa was a Rolling Stone with the Temptations. This was way back when. This was 60s, 70s that they were singing this song. You can go back to the 90s and you have Tupac, singing Dear Mama. You look at the lyrics. Look what he said about his father. He called his father a coward. And you know what? I tend to agree with Tupac on that one. Why is it that we're just abandoning children and believing that this is a way that we can actually conduct ourselves? I'm very embarrassed by this stuff. And, the truth is, it's not that I didn't know that this was going on, but you know what? You have to speak out about it. Look at his second verse. I hung around with the thugs, and even though they sold drugs, they showed a young brother love. I moved out and started real hanging. So what he basically is telling you is, because he had the absence of a father made him go out with the thugs. And I can tell you, growing up, if you don't have a strong father, that's very difficult for you, because it's a sad thing, but young boys, especially when you get around teenage years, they start to want to hear from a man about life. And I don't think that's unfair. And if they don't have a strong father, or uncle, or grandfather in their lives, they're going to go on the street. And then they're going to hear what this guy said in the first part about how you should conduct your life. But I wanted to show that this is not only in the black community. Now, in 1998, Everclear, it's a rock band, released a song. And when I heard it way back when, it Pookie likes various things. Like, I listen to a whole different, I think my music taste is eclectic. So, they wrote a song called Father of Mine, and I'll put the lyrics up here so you can see what he said. But basically what happened in his life was, he had a father, and it's a true story. Listen, it is a true story. He had a father, and the father and mother fell out, and the father just left them. He just walked away and left them. And when he left them, just imagine in the 80s, this white family living in the suburbs, and when the father left them, they had to move to the projects. They literally had to move to the projects. And he spent his childhood, and if you look at interviews with him later in life, you'll see he spent his childhood in sadness. He even started taking drugs when he became a teenager. And when later on in life, when he got older, he decided that he was not going to do that to his children, because he saw the pain that came from doing that. But what I'm getting from a lot of these young men is they don't understand that it's not just you. And that selfishness is the thing that I want to understand why it happens. And later in this podcast that I was listening to, which I excerpted, the answer was there. The person said his own father left him. And it's a cycle. With Everclear, with Everclear, that band, the lead singer broke that cycle because he saw what happened and did not want to happen to his child. But too many young black men see this happen to them. But you know what? It's normalized. And that's the problem. It's normalized. With 70% of children being born out of wedlock, like, come on, you're in the majority if you don't have a father in your life. And that's the problem. Until we figure out that this normal is actually bad, and we figure out that, you see, the thing with this white man, the man who sung the main song, he looked around him and he saw that his family was actually an anomaly. So that's what was, I think, at the base of his pain. With this young man who is speaking, he's a part of the 70%. It's the guys who actually have their fathers in life. They're in the minority. Something is wrong with them. I mean, if you look at it from the way that they're looking at it. So we need to stop normalizing abandonment of children. That's what I wanted to talk to about. And I hope that if there's anyone listening, thinking of it, just remember the pain that a child feels not having a father, even if it is normalized. And just think, who is going to give them guidance? And if you're not there to give them guidance, then the street will give them guidance. And then what happens? We should never complain about a gynocracy or white supremacy or anything like that if we're abandoning our children. Because abandoning our children means that we're leaving the thugs and the criminals to raise our children. What do you really expect will happen? Thank you, guys.